to see what is stronger, Puckett's luck or the luck of the desk.
I mean, given the previous track record of this analyst desk, I mean, eUnited now just going to be winning 4-0, right? That's what we can gather from this. I mean, honestly, like Sideshow was saying, it's going to be an insanely close matchup between these two teams because eUnited, yes, they've been in a slump, but they have performed in the past. They've got the skill, they've got the players there. This is going to be the game that they need to prove it.
There's interesting parallels right now, too, between eUnited and what we've seen from Immortals on the North American side, where eUnited and Immortals were the champions of Contenders Season 0 and have hit upon rough times. But both teams are also known for starting out somewhat slowly. Immortals wasn't quite able to get over the hump yesterday, but maybe eUnited will find an extra gear here today against 1-2-3.
I mean, you'd certainly hope so, because it would be such a shame for a team like eUnited, you know, the champions of Season 0, to just completely bottom out of their groups like this, because they've got the talent there, they've got the players there, they can perform on this stage, and especially against a team like 1-2-3. I mean, we've got a bit of a rematch here between the Season 0 Grand Finals almost, because it was them playing in the finals, and eUnited, you know, they beat them pretty handedly when it came. I think the end score ended up being 3-1, but in this matchup now, Lijiang Tower is the first map. We're heading to ZP. Who do you think this favors the most?
Based on their play so far here in Season 1, I would say it favors 1-2-3, where 1-2-3 has simply had very high-level mechanical play against their opponents. eUnited has struggled to really capitalize on what made them great back in Season 0, which was Volatalia able to get first picks very often, Boombox, of course, surprising teams consistently. That's how eUnited used to be very good at outplaying teams on mechanical level, but they haven't quite been able to find that here so far. Meanwhile, for 1-2-3, we have expected nothing but excellence from Snillo here so far.
Yeah, the argument to be made, yes, I mean, Snillo, he's been playing actually phenomenally well for a player that traditionally was always known for a Soldier 76. You know, they introduced these new players. Now they've got him on the Tracer. But if we take a quick gander at these compositions, we can see that the double hit scan dive being ran by 1-2-3. Team's going to start to roll out. And of course, Cruz on his classic Genji role, what he's most known for.
All right, both teams right now feeling each other out. eUnited not being too aggressive, but they are coming in off the side building, looking for position. Cruz and Voltalia going to suffer some damage early on, but they just back out. So interesting stuff here at the begin Lijiang, where neither team's going high in, but there's Boombox, finds Tonic, and that will be the signal to go.
And again, that's a classic Boombox maneuver, isn't it, at the end of the day? He finds the entry pick, he finds the entry frag there onto Denia. With that one pick, it means that it will be the first checkpoint going to eUnited uncontested. Still 1-2-3 going to be poking and prodding for now, but all you need is that initial pick off, and Boombox just, again, time and time again, picks up the players across the map, charges up the orbs, and sends them flying.
Well, it's a good omen here for Boombox, who does it again! Going to the well once more, finding Finzi, and this is what eUnited has not been getting here so far in Contender Season 1, but they're getting it here today.
I mean, Boombox, I mean, that was almost like the one player that hasn't been getting the picks as much in the previous games, and I feel like that was a massive contributing factor to the fact that eUnited weren't playing perhaps to their full potential, but he's just proving initially straight out the gate, you know, he's still got what it takes, he's still getting those entry kills for his team.
And think about what these early picks have given to eUnited. It's given them a significant ultimate advantage here. Streak might be going down, but Cruz is going to the back. The Dragon Blade is out, but answered by the Transcendence here from Bach, and 1-2-3. Chaining their support ultimates together very well here and making their way in, but eUnited, not done yet. A Sound Bear comes out for them as well.
A much better chaining of ultimates as well. The support ultimates by eUnited are so much more superior to 1-2-3 that they're just actually just overwhelmingly winning this team fight as a result of it. But still, the Self-Destruct gets sent into the back. Denia will fall as a result. A few players onto the point. Primal Rage will get committed here by Sharik as he tries to basically clean up the remaining players. And again, this will mean that eUnited is still in control for now. However, 1-2-3, they've got ults to use to try and initiate in. The Self-Destruct to force the positioning, Primal Rage by Tonic, and Finzi has his Tactical Visor.
1-2-3's dream scenario here is use the Self-Destruct for chaos, and Finzi can clean up on that chaos. eUnited right now, they are getting pushed back. The Self-Destruct over the top, D-Max unfixed. And there's Finzi right after with the Tac Visor, not getting the kills, but zoning eUnited out. Meanwhile, Voltalia just playing the point and trying to buy eUnited a little bit more time.
With those two entry picks, it should be 1-2-3 winning this point out, and indeed they do get the recap in the end. So 94%, not too bad for eUnited, you know, for this first round before it finally gets flipped over in the end. But now 1, 2, 3 are in the defending position. They have that advantage. They can sort of, you know, pick and choose where they take their fights. And in terms of ultimate economy, it's almost equal between both these teams. So it's really going to be about who, once again, gets these first initial picks.
Well, the good thing here for eUnited is that Cruz almost has a Dragon Blade up. They already have the entry pick, and now Cruz, this is his time. There's no support ultimate to deal with him, and he dives right in. Cruz, 1, 2, we have 3, 1, 2, 3, just not the way 1, 2, 3 wanted it, as Cruz picks up the kills he wants, and eUnited now in a firm position to take the round.
Tonic's going to try and stagger out this overtime, which he does indeed, but there's no players able to get realistically on the point. And it will be the first round going to eUnited straight off the back of that Dragon Blade by Cruz. And that was a game of almost like ultimate economy, because as soon as Cruz had that Dragon Blade up with no support ults to counteract it, it was almost game over initially. I mean, yeah, United, they held on to that point for so long, and there was, when it finally got recontested, 1, 2, 3, they really struggling to find anything. You see Cruz, he's happy about that one, you know, waving the sword around in the air.
You gotta love the victory waggle.
Yeah.
The wiggle, whatever you want to call it there. But for United, I think what really set them up there is that they got good early mechanical picks where both Boombox and Voltaia had a better game than what we've been seeing from them recently. And off of that, they were able to maintain an advantage in ult economy throughout most of the round.
Oh, we're going to see a bit of a switch up here in compositions. Cruz wants to be rolling out with the Doomfist, and again, a very capable hero at that. That one-shot potential coming in handy, but it's interesting to see him on a role other than the Genji. We'll see how he actually performs in it. Boombox is just going for a little bit of a wander, puts in a lot of damage into Snillo there, forced him to recall pretty early, and eUnited now going to start to play the point here, play this sort of positioning game as they are taking control of the control point, at least positioning-wise.
And Shriek got really low here early on, but is getting healed up. That's big to maintain your wins on the point. Cruz, now in the Doomfist, rolling around, trying to make space, but with Unfixed falling early, it's made things a little bit more difficult for United. They get bullied right off the point, even though they still have 4 people up.
It's going to be the 1-for-1 trade here. Shark wants to be putting in the damage, putting in the work. Valo also just zipping around the map, seeing what he can do. Good, does get the D-Mech. It's going to be very important. No more defense matrix to sort of soak up this damage and give them mitigation. Right now, 1, 2, 3, they've got a few players around the point, but they're just trying to stall this out for as long as possible. In fact, Denia chooses to fight this, ends up using the sound barrier, connects it onto 3 players in the end. eUnited answer back with their own.
Morta has been great on the counter sound barriers here, answering barrier for barrier, but putting eUnited on top. And now, because of that support ult advantage, they're able to pick up 2 kills. They're able to get control of the point. And Cruz now able to move with the rest of his team as eUnited now can take a better defensive positioning. And they find Finzi just for good measure.
That's the power of Doomfist at the end of the day. That one-shot potential just zips his way in there again, finds the pick, and that's going to set 1, 2, 3 back tremendously as they have to wait for the regroup, wait for the 6 players. I got to say, in that previous fight, Morte using the sound barrier, I wasn't too set on the idea, but looking at his ult percentage now, I mean, he's 50% all the way to it anyway, and with Cruz picking up these one-shots with the rocket punch, I mean, realistically, 1, 2, 3, they're against the back wall.
And speaking of against the wall, Buck is against the wall, knocked right in by Cruz. Meanwhile, on the point, Snillo channeling a little bit of inner Voltaia, going for the sneak on the back line, but eUnited, they already have a bit of an advantage numbers-wise, but not anymore. The explosion takes down Cruz, Snillo finds Boombox, and 1, 2, 3 might be pulling this one back, catching eUnited a bit off guard.
Now, realistically, they should be able to win this with that 2-man advantage, immediately getting those 2 picks, but Shark, he moves in with his own Primal Rage. He picked up the 1 kill down to Tonic, looking to follow it up. Still the point being contested here. Denny is very low as well, does manage to get the D-Mech onto Unfixed in the end of it, but Cruz moves in with the Meteor Strike, looking for the target, will connect it onto Happy Cool, but he's not quite D-Mech just yet.
The important thing here for United is that they're keeping control. Yes, it's going back and forth, but 1, 2, 3 is not decisively removing eUnited from the point. So, sure, eUnited is falling right now, but look at the progress of gains even as 1, 2, 3 attacks. Yes, 1, 2, 3 is going to take control of the point now, but the damage has been done. eUnited is now potentially one really good team fight away from taking this round and thus the map.
Now, the good thing here for 1, 2, 3 is, again, they are defending now, and they also have Cruz, who has just recently switched over to the Genji as opposed to the Doomfist. So he's working off that ult's advantage. He has to really be building up this Dragon Blade in a quick amount of time, which means that, you know, 1, 2, 3, they don't have to worry about having their support ults in time for this Dragon Blade. Realistically, the only thing they have to worry about, potentially Valitaja moving in, and it is a game of essentially finding those initial picks. But 1, 2, 3, they initiate in with their sound barrier pretty early on.
Well, they open with the barrier, and they find Shriek to be begin with. That sets them up for a 6-on-5 as eUnited. They're just backing out a bit here, but Finzi goes a bit too far. Now eUnited can swap this back around. They have 2 support ultimates ready to chain one into another, but Valtai has just fallen, so now for eUnited, I think they need to back out and just go for one really good final push.
Pulse bomb gets sent out there by Snillo, doesn't connect onto the play he's looking for, but you notice that both these teams traces plays, Valo and Snillo just both trying to play the points, but look at that, initial pick by Boombox, he picks up Bok. Are they going to be able to follow it up with any more kills?
Boombox was forced out to use a Transcend, so Snillo applied pressure, made him Transcend a little bit earlier, so eUnited rolls onto the point off that, but they're not able to convert any kills. 1, 2, 3 now gets to reset and fight 1 support ultimate versus 1 support ultimate, so this will be more even than eUnited might like here, and it's because of that pressure we just saw from Snillo. But Bren, here they go.
This is it. This is really do or die time right now if eUnited win this. They get the recap, the South Strike gets sent out a little bit too late. Finzi picks up the kill as well. The Helix Rocket is going to be bursting down Valutaya as he tries to contest this point. The overtime will finally come down. Finzi uses the tactical visor. He just about manages to stay on, but Cruz answers back with the blade.
Cruz right now moving in and around. 2 kills for him so far. Still a threat on the point, but eUnited has to stay on the point. They gave it up for free early on. However, by working the corners here, and Cruz in particular, going for the supports, he has put eUnited on the winning edge. They are very likely to recap this here, but the problem here, Bren, is that because they gave up control, 1, 2, 3 still might have a chance to get back in here. We'll see.
The overtime ticks over. Denier just about contesting the point just a little bit now, and still the recap will come in. As you mentioned here, ZP, 97%. They need to get somebody onto the point, otherwise they're going to be losing this map. Snillo just about gets onto it now. It's the sound bias. Going to be connecting onto 5 here for 1, 2, 3. The overtime ticking down. Valo has the post bomb, sends it out. Will it connect? Yes, Finzi goes down.
Right now, it is a war between Snillo and Valtalia. Both tracers doing significant work. Snillo, though, doing perhaps a little bit more. Takes Cruz out of the fight. 1, 2, 3. Now, getting the edge over eUnited. It's only Valtalia and Unfixed left here as Valtalia is going to fall in overtime. No, Unfixed, a little bit late.
And 1, 2, 3, they are still in this first map. eUnited, I think they thought they had that under their belt, they thought they had that in their hands. It was within their grasp, but one more round will decide the outcome of this map here. ZP, I can see you looking at me. You're looking at me in my eyes. You've got a point to make here.
I do have a point to make, which is that stay on the point. that is my point to make, which is very point-based in a sense, is that I understand that eUnited maybe didn't like the way that fight was going about, but they still had a sound barrier in reserve. You can't give up points for free in this game. It will come back to haunt you. And eUnited, they ended up winning that fight, perhaps because of the positioning advantage they got, but if they were able to win the fight while maintaining control of the point and not giving it up early, I don't think 1, 2, 3 would have had a chance to really get back in.
Well, here we have, again, a switch up in compositions. This time, Hafikul on the Genji. I don't think I've seen this since he was in his NWA days, but regardless of that, the first initial pick, Sherik will fall. The overwhelming damage of 1, 2, 3 coming out here. Sonic will actually trade out, but it looks like 1, 2, 3 are the ones who are currently on top in this initial fight, at least for the control center.
eUnited right now is getting pushed back. They lost 2 people early on in 1, 2, 3. Not even doing anything crazy here, just maintaining their advantage, holding their ground. eUnited, though, they are able to get back in before the point is capped, so now we look to Valtalia. Has the pulse bomb built up rather quickly, so does Snillo. Boombox getting blocked, though. Wow. That's big.
Well, the cap does go to 1, 2, 3 in the end, and the kills are being traded all over the bloody place. Post bomb will get sent out by Snillo. Doesn't connect onto any targets that he's looking for, but the point now starting to get contested. And Unfixed, he's charged up. He's ready to go. He's found the first pick, the initial kill they need. But still, this point will be contested up as Snillo is just happy to just loiter around the point, make sure it doesn't go over to their way just quickly enough. Tonic tries to play it to a degree, but he's going to get pushed back out of it.
That's big. eUnited has not captured this point yet, and they felt pressured to bring out the Transcendence. They do it after Valtalia is down, and they got nothing out of that Transcendence. 1, 2, 3 is still maintaining control at this point. They're still keeping even, and here comes the blade from Hafi.
Hafi moves in. He's trying to go for the kill, but that Harmony Orb on him. Graviton Surge was actually committed there by Unfixed. I don't know about that, mate. That was a bit questionable, if you do ask me, because that's only connected onto 1, and they haven't found the kills off the back of his ZP.
I don't find it questionable at all. I find it bad. It was not a good Graviton. That fight was already over.
That's
Unfixed
baffling.
commits the Graviton in a terrible situation, and now for eUnited, where that would be great for regaining control, they don't have that up, and they're down to their final 40%.
You know, I could almost partially understand it if you were going to switch off the Zarya, but he's sticking to it. Unfix is staying on the Zarya now. That's just poor, because now look at this. 1, 2, 3, they've got the big bang combo, an absolute classic. The Graviton Surge followed up with the Pulse Bomb. This is almost instantly going to be a one fight off the back of this. He sends it in, the Graviton Surge with the Pulse Bomb, and they find the kills just off the back of that quite easily enough.
eUnited now will be down to their final fight to try to take this map. 1, 2, 3 has been able to keep... Oh, well... Farewell, Sharik. But so he's going to have to reset, and actually the problem with him dying that late is that eUnited's not going to have the positioning they really want here. They're going to have to sound barrier in without great positioning. Oh, Snillo. He was going for that early pickoff.
This aggression's ridiculous. Cruz moves in, he realizes it's do or die time. Meteor Strike sent out the sound barrier to try and counteract it. They're moving into the back lines. He does pick up a kill. eUnited answer back with a few more, currently with the 2-man advantage as it stands, and they will flip the point.
They'll flip the point, but Boombox is falling into the back. However, 1, 2, 3, they've just lost too many people. They're not really going to be able to capitalize on that. eUnited should be able to regroup in full. Let's bear in mind here, Bren, that eUnited, they are the Season 0 champions in a rough spot right now. They have to be perfect for the rest of this round, or they will be dropping this first map.
Now, right now, the win condition for 1, 2, 3 is if they force Boombox's Transcendence early enough, Hafiku can just clean up with the Dragon Blade. That's assuming that the team don't actually fall with the midst of it, but that's sort of the game plan right now for 1, 2, 3. And especially with Denia's sound barrier, this is 100% doable for them. eUnited, they need to play up their strengths right now.
And Boombox is well protected in the back. Snow has not been able to get back on him here so far.
Oh
my God!
What?
Voltaya out of nowhere! Oh, okay.
That's ridiculous, because that wasn't even comboed with anything.
No.
Can we, let's take a look at this one again,
What?
because that has got me confused in so many ways.
Voltaya, boom. Oh, it was Tonic. I think Tonic was stuck and it was leaping midway through. Spread the blast radius, but here we go. The Dragon Blade is out, matched immediately by the Transcendence. Haficool will get nothing off of this because of that, as eUnited has regained their strength here. That Pulse Bomb reinvigorated them. And now it's 70% to 99% here, Bren. They have the Graviton on deck. If Unfix has a better grab this time, he's going to make 1, 2, 3 use their support ultimates to counteract it.
I mean, they've got the whole Space Jam combo, haven't they? Cruz is holding onto his Meteor Strike. They got the Graviton Surge to counteract it, and look at this aggression. eUnited moving in. The Graviton Surge gets sent out. The Meteor Strike does not find the targets. Both support ults being committed by 1, 2, 3. If they don't come out on top in this fight, CP, it could be disastrous.
They had to use the barrier early to deal with the Meteor Strike. Now they get a Graviton of their own. 1, 2, 3, still coming back in. 3 to 3 right now as eUnited evens it up. And yes, they're on the point. They are able to flip it back in their favor. eUnited must get back on here in a hurry.
Yeah, Valu's going to be trying to tick this overtime over. Unfix, he's switched over to the Soldier. He needs to get back into this fight immediately. They need the damage to be done. They need to slam it home right now. But Snello with the post bomb brings down Cruz. Morte tries to hammer it home with the eUnited's own sound barrier. They are finding the Pixie ZP. It's being spread so evenly across the board.
But Voltai is down, Snillo is still up. The orb is on him right now. He is a big threat, laying the damage in the Sharik. Morte in deep trouble if he gets focused. He's under fire, but he's able to get away. eUnited reinforcements now coming back in, and we even have a swap now onto the Sombra. He gets hacked, and no!
My goodness. I don't believe it, and that is the map. 1, 2, 3 going to be taking map number 1 off of one crucial mistake, just leaving the point for a millisecond.
And that's what you see in those moments where if you've been in overtime for a while, even being off for a second will cause it to end. But speaking of pulse bombs,
look at this.
You just want to see this one more time.
Even though they lost the map, that is just gorgeous, isn't it? What do you say about that? Because that's a game that could have gone to any side, and it was insanely close. You know, Sideshow was saying this could be, you know, a 55%, 45% game. You know, it could go to absolutely any side. You can 100% see that from the way that played out.
I agree. I think Sideshow's fence sitting here has proven to be a reasonable prediction indeed.
I mean, you could flip a coin and probably get the exact same predictions as what the Analyst desk are moving on to. But regardless of that, 1, 2, 3 going to be winning map number 1. So, you know, the Analyst desk, they can relax a little bit. You know, they're not down and out just yet. You know, they did all predict them. But eUnited, that was shockingly close. And given what we've seen of them throughout this season 1 in the previous matches, you know, maybe closer than some people were anticipating.
It's certainly more like the eUnited that we've come to expect over time, where we did set the stage and we said, look, we need to see more out of Volatalia. We need to see more out of Boombox. And what did we see? Both of them had very big moments for eUnited here, and it was nearly enough to put them over the top and give them this first map victory. So even though 1-2-3 was the favorite coming in here, and even though they were able to get the first map, eUnited is a threat, and I think... Let's see. No, we're not hanging them by. I think we might be hanging the Eichenwald next.
Quite possibly. It depends what they're going to be choosing, I guess, because it is eUnited's map pick. Given what we've seen of Cruz, he's been switching out a little bit more Doomfist, as opposed to the Genji Eichenwald, a map that does suit Doomfist quite well. A lot of mobility, especially in the second stages. You do see quite a bit of Doomfist. He does fit quite nicely as well. Tight corridors that you can get those one-shots in with the rocket punches. So I do understand this sort of pick from the side of eUnited, but will it work in their favor?
Well, we'll see. I think Cruz has put in some time on Doomfist. He's looked much better on that hero than I think we might have expected coming in, where he's added to his repertoire, where this is something we've seen in the scene, that people that are very good at Genji have been told, flex a Doomfist, find your inner arm day and punch people. You trade in the sword, you go for the fist, and Cruz actually was pretty decent at it.
Interesting to note that 1-2-3 actually don't really have that dedicated Doomfist player. I think they didn't run him once in that entire map, and yet they still came out on top. That's quite surprising, given the win rates that Doomfist has been getting time and time again that we've seen in Contenders. That is kind of shocking, because they weren't even running sort of the counter to Doomfist, which most teams consider to be McCree. They weren't even running that. They were just sort of outplaying them when it came to the team play, the raw ultimate usage, the raw ability usage.
Well, I think one point that really stands to that is you think about how close that last Lijiang Tower map was, right?
Yeah.
What happens if Unfixed uses that Graviton well for a one-team fight instead of throwing it into a lost team fight? I think that eUnited probably takes the round, which means they take the map. So throwing away ultimates or having a poor choice even at one point in the map can very much come back to bite you in the butt.
That was a game decided by a Knife's Edge, quite literally. That one Graviton Surge by Unfixed. I mean, Overwatch is a game where normally you can't pin it on, a single play. It's a team game, Yes. At the end of the day, Unfixed, with that one misplay by him with the Graviton Surge, there were probably absolutely tons of misplays from both sides where they could have turned it either way. Regardless of that, it was an incredibly close match between them. But like you mentioned, this could have gone any way. It could have been literally eUnited right now, one map up. It would have been 1-2-3 on the back foot. But now we're going to eUnited here on the defense here for Eichenwald. Compositions-wise, again, we're seeing Cruz. He's on the Doomfist, and they're running Valo on that signature tracer role, but again, running sort of traditional support. So you've got the Zenyatta, you've got the Lucio.
I think what I like here about eUnited and how they're running this is that, and also this map pick, is that as we note that 1-2-3 doesn't really like running the Doomfist as much, Doomfist is very effective on first point Eichenwald, both on attack and defense. So if 1-2-3 doesn't have this in their arsenal, this is potentially a big map advantage for eUnited if Cruz is able to put together a good Doomfist game. But Bren, 1-2-3, they're past the archway, they're looking for their way in, and you gotta think they're gonna be diving in soon.
Yeah, well, they've got the triple DPS sort of setup going on, which is a lot of damage, a lot of burst damage they can potentially use to try and focus one player down, but at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter when Boombox is getting those picks straight off the bat. Happy will fall once again with a fully charged shot straight to the cranium, and with that, 1-2-3 are forced to back off and choose to re-engage a little bit later.
And look at the impact of this pickoff. It's going to buy eUnited close to a minute until 1-2-3 is really able to come back in again. And then look at Boombox. He's at 65% right now. He's likely going to get his Transcendence up way before Bach as Cruz finds Half-a-Cool again. Half-a-Cool is the target of choice right now for eUnited.
It certainly feels that way, but Cruz answering back immediately once again. Finding the picks for the rest of his team. 1-2-3, I mean, they need to sort of change things up, I feel like, a little bit. This triple DPS sort of rollout, it's not really working. All you're doing is just giving tons more targets for Cruz to one-shot with his rocket punch.
Well, I think one thing we need to see here is that Half-a-Cool is being too greedy and poking in his Genji. He's gotten picked off twice in a row now. So we need from 1-2-3 is a more coordinated dive. The problem is, because of those two whiffed team fights, they're going to be rolling straight into a Transcendence, so their odds here, even with a good dive, actually aren't all that great. It'd be good if they got an early pickoff, though, as they dive in.
I mean, right now they need to be forcing out that Transcendence as soon as they possibly can. Half-a-Cool answers back with a Swift Strike, but already they're at a disadvantage when it comes to that players. Half-a-Cool trying to play around that point. Boombox again manages to finish up Vinci. Another failed push by 1-2-3.
Well, what we saw there is that Hafikul wasn't trying to be the hero that time around. He waited for Tonic to leap in, and that gave him the opening he needed to get on Cruz, while Cruz was looking to punch other targets. So it was a better engage for 1-2-3. The problem here is that they are a bit behind in Ultimate Economy, where even if they get the Transcendence up here, they're going to be outdone by the barrier right after. So this is problematic, but we'll see just how they decide to move in here. As Hafikul gets his revenge, there will be no Transcendence. A big opportunity as 1-2-3 goes in.
A massive opportunity. In fact, that's going to mean that Mote has to commit the sound barrier. As a result, Hafikul, he whips out the Dragon Blade. He wants to go to town on them. He's already picked up a single kill there onto Cruz. Is that going to be enough? Still, the Shurikens will be sent out flying. Post bomb onto the back lines. Will not collect the kill that they're certainly looking for, but the reflect onto Valu brings him down, and 1-2-3, overwhelming authority. They capture the first point off the back of that one kill onto Boombox.
Well, think about it. It is basically the reverse situation that eUnited normally finds themselves in. Usually it's Boombox getting the early pick off. Now is Boombox getting picked off. Stillo piles on the post bomb into the back. This is staggering eUnited in ways you do not want to be staggered as you set up your Streets defense.
It's not too bad. I mean, the cart's going to get pushed in. I mean, the gate's not even open yet. I mean, they're committing quite a few ults, but again, any kills they get here is going to be fantastic for 1-2-3, because that means they can set up, look at this forward positioning. They've got Tonic exactly where they need him. He can lay down the bubble. If he realizes it gets a bit too hairy, you know, he's just going to back out of there immediately.
Well, the thing for 1-2-3, it would have been good if they could have denied the high ground, because you have Cruz swapping now to the 76. eUnited would very much like to keep this position, give Cruz plenty of room, and let him just lay in the damage from above, as Tonic gets a little bit split from his team. Has to Primal Rage in an awkward position, leaps behind, leaps away. He's leaping everywhere but the places he needs to be right now.
That was dangerously close, but regardless, it's a cutesy little distraction play, because there's going to be Shariq who ends up falling in the midst of it. Still, these 1-for-1 trades, the self-destruct onto the high ground will mean not much, just forces the positioning for the time being. Equal trades. Fincy, it answers it back with the Helix rocket into the face of Cruz, finishing him up.
This has been much better right now for 1-2-3. Not only did they trade out better numerically, but Finzy is getting crucial kills onto the eUnited DPS squad. Now Finzy multiple opportunities to use his attack visor. He can go to the high ground or simply support from the back. Either way, eUnited is in a rough spot. They have to get a lot from this Transcendence.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Boombox still has not used this Transcendence at all. Snillo sends out the post bomb, doesn't find the kills, but again, Boombox, he's been holding on to this Transcendence the entire game so far. And right now, this would have been the perfect place to use it, but again, a little bit too late for my liking, because already you've lost 2 players on the side of eUnited, and they're answering back. 1-2-3, come in with the sound barrier. They want to try and finish this game out, finish this second checkpoint, and get a decent time on the board.
And it's just easy stuff. Finzy doesn't have to worry about support ult blocking him. In the backline, gunning it down as Hafikul pulls out the blade, I guess, just to be sure in the situation. Why not? Might not have been needed, but it will secure the point and will let 1-2-3 knock down that door.
I mean, that was kind of sloppy ultimate usage, I think, from both teams there. Hafikul probably didn't need to use the blade in that final moments, but Boombox was way too patient when it came to using his Transcendence. I mean, like I mentioned, he'd been holding on to it since the game had begun, you know, since he got that rapid Transcendence straight away. And it could have saved their team in that initial team fight. But now, 1-2-3, they're just slamming it home. They've got so much momentum built up from the back of these wins. 2.5 minutes ZP, and they're already pushing it forward into the 3rd checkpoint.
And here's the thing, eUnited is really poked down here to start this out. This means they're going to use the barrier and aggressively go in. If they don't get kills immediately, it's going to be tough, but they do get what they're looking for. Cruz slamming it home here as eUnited able to just roll through and finally get some much-needed stability, which they didn't really have throughout most of Streets.
Yeah, and now I think eUnited are definitely going to be breathing a sigh of relief as they manage to basically stall this one out. If 1-2-3 kept that cart rolling, kept that payload moving into that final checkpoint, you know, it's very difficult to try and find the momentum to stop them. Now, Boombox, again, you know, he's built up the Transcendence in a rapid fashion. He's already got one built, and it's going to be the exact same story on the side of 1-2-3 as Bok is holding onto one of his own. Let's see, though, how they initiate in with this fight here, ZP.
Well, both teams might be passing to the Iris as both Tracers strike blood. Snillo, though, out of the fight early on. 1-2-3 relies on Snillo a lot here, so eUnited might be perhaps a little bit more aggressive here. Both Transcendences are done, the healing is over, but there's the Graviton as eUnited gets a nice team fight wipe off of what was a very quickly charged Graviton by Cruz.
That's a rapid Graviton, because Cruz has only recently made that switch to the Zarya. I think that was just 2 team fights, and he'd already built it up. And now, I mean, this is the danger zone for 1-2-3, because look at this, they got a minute 20 on the clock. And here we get to see Cruz again. Look at this magic. Straight away into the long-range grab. Picks up, I think all 6 of them, I feel like it was. Oh, no, it's about 5 of them, but still very detrimental to the side of 1-2-3. And Boombox again finding these picks. This is what we needed out of eUnited for them to try and take these maps. We needed Boombox to be getting these picks.
Boombox right now has been Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for me right now, where I think it's the other way around. But you know, either way, what we've been seeing from Boombox is that he had a rough middle of the game, but a good beginning, and now it's been a good end as that early pick let eUnited be a lot more aggressive, simply take 1-2-3 out of their territory, and 1-2-3 no longer has time to give. They're down to their final 38 seconds here, Bren, and Half-a-Cool must land a good Graviton to realistically set this up.
He needs to hit this off now. The Graviton is the only thing they've got going for them. And eUnited, they've got so much mitigation for it. But we're going to see a pause. And that means you get to see our ugly mugs for a good amount of time as well while we wait to talk about this. But, I mean, looking at these ultimates, I mean, the setup-wise, there's 2 support ults on either side. They both got the sound barriers to work with, so they can counteract Half-Equal's Graviton Surge. But this is do-or-die time. You know, we're into the final seconds here for Eichenwald.
We are, and this is where a lot of pressure is on your Zarya player, where, of course, Graviton is better nowadays. It's harder for people to get away from it, which means that you see Gravitons get even more team wipes than they ever used to get. However, for Half-a-Cool moving in, he has to pay a lot of respect to Unfixed, because with great power, Bren, comes great responsibility, and you don't want to throw that power into a Korean future vacuum.
No, you really don't. I mean, the defense matrix, he's got to be worried about this. But the thing that really is spinning me out about this, because even if Half-a-Cool wins this initial engagement with the Graviton Surge, they still have to finish it out. And then it's going to be going into the overtime. There's no doubt about it, even if they win this initial fight. There's so much going against 1-2-3 right now in this current scenario, this current situation.
But what you touch on right now is that the magic number for 1-2-3 is 2. That is 2 team fights. So even if they do get the clean Graviton, if it's really far up, eUnited will have that chance to re-engage. But here we go. 1-2-3, the stage is set. They're moving right in. Off the Reaper swap. The barrier is in.
Ooh.
And now Half-a-Cool, he has to wait to Graviton right now. He can't follow it up on the barrier, Bren.
But with this, I mean, Shariki's moved into the back. He's eating a lot of damage with the back of that. Now the Graviton only connects onto Unfixed, but they bring him down. Now they counteract. Look at this, the self-destruct. It's so much damage, man. Valo with the 4-man. The self-destruct to top things off, and with the overtime ticking down, that'll be a decent hold here by the side of eUnited, only letting it get to 2 checkpoints about 30 meters down the road.
Well, that was certainly a tale of 2 Gravitons there. One Graviton grabs a Diva. Take that, Diva. You're not eating the Graviton, I suppose. The other Graviton sets up Valtaya to kill everyone.
I know. I mean, and Valu, we mentioned it before this was even beginning. We needed Valu to turn up, we needed Boombox to turn up. And who are the 2 players who have been turning up in this series? Valu and Boombox. They've been having outstanding performances for eUnited, and it's going to make this a very competitive match for 1-2-3 to try and take away from them.
Also, credit where credit is due here, where Cruz, we don't see him on Zarya all that often, was building ultimate charge with the best of them, was very much keeping himself competitive with the other Zarya, and in fact, that finishing Graviton, very important to eUnited, making that as clean as possible, and not letting the yellow box victory be too deep into the castle.
Cruz had an outstanding performance down to the Zarya. He switched it into the final checkpoint, and he had an incredibly high uptime when it came to building that Graviton Surge. Very impressive stuff from him, because without him actually managing to build up the Graviton Surges as consistently as he did, this could have been a completely different story. You know, we most likely would have been seeing 1-2-3 actually finishing this up into the final moments. But now we're seeing a turn of events. We see again 1-2-3 going to be on that defense, and they're sticking with the 2-2-2 dive, double hit scan. You know, running Snillo on the Tracer, Fincy on the Soldier 76. eUnited looking like they're teasing with again the 2-2-2 dive once again. So very traditional compositions by both these teams, not trying to utilize the Doomfist too much, not trying to go too crazy.
I'm a little bit surprised that we're not seeing the Doomfist come out here, because I think Cruz has looked reasonable on it. We do know it's very good on first attack, but I think this is eUnited just sticking to what they're comfortable with, right? Where they've run this 2-2-2 for quite a long time. And no, as I say that, look at this. Cruz coming on the Doomfist, but it won't be the 4 DPS variant that we've seen. It's going to be a little bit more standard nonetheless.
So Cruz will be moving to the Doomfist, as you mentioned, and we can both understand this one, because, you know, first point Eichenwald, very choky, and if you get that initial pick, it's almost always going to be resulting in that first capture straight off the bat. Cruz is the man to watch. We're going to see him trying to lead in a rocket punch or two. He charges it up, goes for the kill, does connect. Immediately has to just scoot his way out of there with the seismic slam. His team are back to try and peel for it.
That's very nice disruption coming in from Cruz, and very well could have been a kill if the target had just been a little bit different. Now eUnited, they get to heal up, they get to go in again. Cruz holding on, charging up, looking for his opportunity. Just judging this terrain right now as Voltalia looks for weakness on the backside. So eUnited is playing this patiently, but I do like what they're looking for here as Cruz wants to make sure when he goes in, it's going to be good.
Valu's trying to play with his food a little bit here. He's almost built up the pulse bomb to try and lay this one in. But again, it is going to be Cruz. He finds the kill onto Bok. That's kind of what they needed. Now, we see the pulse bomb did get 8 there by the defense matrix, so not going to be seeing any damage being done from that. Now will we see the counterattack? Yes, we will. It's going to be the D-Mech coming out from them. The self-destruct also going to be committed, but it is pretty much the 1-2-3 show as the sound barrier will be used by Denier to just try and cement their defense here in the final moments.
This is interesting here for 1-2-3, where it does look like they might hold on this fight, but they did just invest a barrier and a tac visor towards the end, where I don't really know if the tac visor is needed. eUnited was already down 2 players and looking to retreat. Now eUnited does get a bit of an advantage here, where they have a barrier of their own. Bok doesn't quite have the Transcendence, and Cruz might get the meteor strike going in, but it is a limited window because Bok will get that Transcendence up rather soon indeed.
You know, Bok is going to be, I mean, he almost fell there very quickly, and they're going to be trying to jump on him in the back lines. Once afraid they need to try and peel for him here. Rocket punch by Cruz gets sent in. He's so weak, might be forced to pop the meteor strike. Indeed, he does. The kill's going to be falling in their way. Will he find a pick onto Bok? Ooh, Transcendence is used in the nick of time. They actually do manage to force it out, but that could be great for them, because now it's going to mean that a fight is won here for 1-2-3. eUnited forced to reset.
Bok needed to live there long enough to get Transcendence to give 1-2-3 life, and that's exactly what happened there, where he was able to hide in the shadows, and even though Cruz was hunting him like a man on a mission, a guided satellite beam, he had the Transcendence just in time to avoid the death. So eUnited now in a very tough situation. But with the barrier up, this is really their window to get the ball rolling here, so to speak.
It is indeed. eUnited, they've got a huge ultimate advantage when it comes to their support ults. Self-destruct will be committed here by 1-2-3, trying to force the position back just by a little bit of time, just a little bit of moments here. Valor to try and get a pick off, but ZP, they're initiating in with the ults.
They are moving in. eUnited committing with the barrier. They have the Transcendence they can throw in right after, but they're not going to need it this time. 2 quick entry kills, but no, they use Transcendence anyways. They just want to be sure. 1-2-3 getting thrown off of the point here as Boombox satisfies his bloodlust at the very end.
And this will be just the final moments here, as we see. It will be Tonic, he just falls, and it will be the first cap, but that was an incredible hold there by the side of 1-2-3. They managed to hold that one for a good amount of time, almost 3 minutes on the clock. Value's looking for the post bomb. We've seen this time and time again from Tracer players at this specific checkpoint. They throw out the post bomb and they get the kill, but it looks like 1-2-3 are going to be able to find themselves onto the high ground. But ZP, he's creeping, he's crawling, he's looking for the kill.
It's Secret Agent Voltalia, pulse bomb in, does it connect? No! The fancy footwork from Finzi keeps him safe from Voltalia when he was marked and potentially dead to rights. Now, what does eUnited face here, Bren? Because they don't get the pick off there. Finzi has the visor. Finzi could really ruin eUnited's day because of that.
Oh, I mean, does he even realistically need to use it? I mean, they're getting the picks off the back of it. Sniller will be into the back lines, brings down Boombox. Cruz is trying to finish him up. Finally, now Finzi will commit the tactical visor, which will clean up this fight for them. But still, Cruz, he's waiting elegantly, patiently. He has the Dragon Blade. He realizes he might be biting off a little bit too more than he can chew. He is just really trying not to die right now. He's in a sticky scenario here, ZP.
Cruz might be a better secret agent. He is British. No, he's not. He's not James Bond. You are not Daniel Craig. I apologize. He's dead.
He's gone. He's gone, ZP. He's finished. Hafikul finds that kill off the back of it. That could have been beautiful for Cruz as well if he managed to find a good positioning with the Dragon Blade, but ultimately was not to be. Seeing again this battle here as eUnited are trying to just fight their way out of their own choke point here. They've got ults to use, but they seem quite patient in their ways to use them. Finally, the Transcendence will be used by Boombox here as they look to try and take this fight further into it.
That was really nice by Tonic. Not only did he force a Transcendence out, but he was able to get out himself. However, Cruz, the blade is finally out. Into the back line, booped back and denied. Tonic going to shut him down in the back, and this has been a masterclass by Tonic for the last few minutes here. Not only pulls out the Transcendence, but also saves his team in the back line.
Sandbar is going to be committed by 1-2-3 as they try and really lead these kills into them. They get the team Ekk onto 1fix as well, bring him down. Post 1 will be committed onto Sharik as they try and finish him up, and indeed they will claim the kills. Valor desperately trying to claim at least something, and finally they are answering back for this aggression. 1-2-3 are playing that super forward, and they are being punished for it eventually.
The thing for 1-2-3 is that they can't let off the gas pedal here. eUnited now is going to have some momentum in their ultimates moving into the next point, and they don't have to push a payload that far into last. So even though 1-2-3 look dominant here, this could still go against them as Volatalia now into the back with Sharik. Sharik looking for those sweet, sweet environmental kills, and no, again, Finzi! What a dancer, dude. He's been doing this all map long.
He finds it, he doesn't care, does he? Sharik will reconvene with the rest of his team here, but ZP, the question's got to be asked here. 40 seconds on the clock, and they have not got their second checkpoint. This could be the final fight here. Valu tries to move into post bomb, doesn't find the kill. With him falling, that could be critical.
That is brutal. 1-2-3 now with a vital 6v5 opportunity. Cruz looking to equalize, builds up the blade. Finzi playing Castlevania, gets to the ledge below. We have not seen the last of him, he still has his visor. Meanwhile, Cruz, barrier on him, holding onto the blade, gets rid of the Prom and Tonic, but now here comes Finzi from the flank.
Finzi moves into the back with the tactical visor, but he will get brought down by Unfix once again. The peel was definitely there. And 1-2-3, they played this disastrously because eUnited are just playing cleanup duty. They're picking off the players that are overextending, and even though this will go to the overtime, I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to say that they do not find the second checkpoint. The overtime will tick down, however. Cruz moves in with the Dragon Blade, will get counteracted by this tactical, by the Tranquility.
It was, but he got half a cool in mid-air. He got more for that blade than he should have. Still, though, eUnited in trouble. They're outgunned on the point. The barrier keeps 1-2-3 very healthy here, and eUnited needs some heroics from Unfixed and Cruz right now, as Cruz, back in the back right now, gets Bach. Cruz might be bringing this back once more as Unfixed comes up the flank.
I wouldn't call it just yet, ZP. Tonic is still there with the Primal Rage. He's putting in damage, and they landed off the point. It happened again. And it will be 1-2-3 claiming map number 2 off the back of it again, falling off the point. How many times has this got to happen before teams have got to realize, you know, you can't afford this? I mean, you know, credit where credit's due. Tonic was leaping around the point like an absolute madman in his Primal Rage form, knocking people left, right, and center. But still, you know, you've got to stay on the point. You've got to be on that. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, right now, I just feel like top 10 Overwatch battles right now include eUnited versus Objectives.
Yeah.
This was brutal for eUnited because very arguably their focus on points right now might have cost them not 1 but 2 maps, depending on how it might have flowed right after. So, yeah, not great for eUnited.
No, and I mean, time and time again as well, we saw Valu just getting to play of the game, but at the end of the day, the map wins are going to 1-2-3. It feels like they just do have that superior team play. Even after the fights were looking, you know, disastrous for them, they just come into it and just manage to capitalize off the mistakes that they were making.
All right, guys. Well, to break this down, let's throw it to a much relieved analyst desk.